right, so my first step here is just to loosen these bolts. Here, got those three. Let's see what else we got here. Another one here. Oh yeah, it's gonna come out. There it is. There's the starter. I'm going to take the intake manifold off it, just because to move the engine, you know, rolling around in a truck or something, if it happens to tip over, probably crack it. So it's easier to take it off now. Okay, now I'm going to move this chain that I had on one of the bolts for the transmission. I'll get rid of that. And I've got the engine slung independent of the transmission now. All right, so it's just a couple of dowels that's sitting on there now, I think. So let's see if we can just start splitting that gently. Oh, we'll just take a little persuasion down in here. Yeah, see it's starting to move there. Around here. Yeah, I can see the crack starting to open up there a little bit. Let's see. See? Yeah. Wanting to go. Now I'll take another check around here, make sure we get everything free. Ah, looking good. Now, a little bit at the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna come around again. Let's see. Now, I guess I might want to put a little more blocking on this end. It's almost free. There it is. There, that's it, I think. There we go. Little gander over here. Okay. That's just about free there. There it comes. There it is. There we go. It's off of there. There. And I'm just going to take the clutch and the flywheel off of there. And that's a go. Come on. There it is. All right, there's the clutch disc. Doesn't look too bad, actually. And this is the pressure plate. So that comes as an assembly, usually when you buy them. Like if you have to change the clutch in your vehicle, it's clutch and pressure plate. You buy that as an assembly. You can buy them separately, but I think they usually come as a kit. And for a manual transmission, you have a flywheel with a machine face on it. And that's what this works against to drive the transmission. All right, so when you've got your foot off the clutch, this is pushed up against here, and this is splined to your transmission. So this turns with the engine. And when you push the clutch down, it pushes down on these. It brings that plate back closer to the top and brings this off the flywheel just a little bit. So it disengages the turning engine from the transmission. So that every time you shift gears, when you push down on the clutch, that lifts off of here momentarily, and then when you let the clutch go again, it's back against here. And it drives the transmission. Okay? That's how that works. So, you know, they usually last the life of a vehicle, but I mean, you know, if you have a lot of miles on your car, if you have a standard, you can probably change it halfway through the life of a vehicle. Or if you got hard use, you know, if you ride the clutch, you know that you're trying to back it up a hill or something and you can't really fully get your foot off the clutch, and you can, you know, sometimes you smell it, or it gets hot, smokes. What you're doing is this is slipping on here. You don't quite have it disengaged. You know, it's not fully engaged or disengaged. You know, it's sort of partially slipping, and that's what burns it out. That's what burns out those friction discs. Friction's on both sides, see? On that surface and on this surface, right? And yeah, it's best to have, you know, clean engagement and disengagement of the clutch when you're using it. But sometimes it's inevitable. You know, you have to. It's unavoidable. You have to back up, and you can't let it go full throttle in reverse, which is usually the case. You know, that's the one that wears clutches out probably the most, is backing up. And but they wear just normally anyway. But the other thing too is very often if you change a clutch, which is that assembly there, you always check this to make sure this is in good shape. And if it isn't, you can get these resurfaced. So you take it off the engine, like I'm going to do here in a minute, and you send the flywheel out to a machine shop. You know, resurface that for about $100, and then you get a nice new contact surface when your new clutch goes in. That's the recommended, right? But very often, you know, like if it's still in pretty good shape, like that's not in too bad a shape at all. You know, you just clean that up and put a new clutch kit in, and off you go. But to change a clutch, you know, you got to separate the transmission from the engine, and a lot of shops do it in the car. You know, they move the transmission back if they can, or they drop the transmission from the bottom. You know, it's a nightmare. And that's why it costs, you know, $1,500 to get your clutch changed, you know, or more. Depends on who does it and what's involved and what car it is, what make and manufacturer it is. And sometimes it's easier to just yank the whole engine out and change it, but most guys, you know, most mechanics try and do it in the car, but yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill to do it in the car, and you got to have experience with that particular vehicle. So anyway, enough idle chit chat about the clutch and everything. But here's the other thing. I might as well show you while I'm at it. So down in here, in this sort of the bell housing of the transmission, this is the input shaft for the transmission, and it's splined into that clutch disc, right? Okay. And this fork here, shaped like a fork, that's your shifter fork. So that's connected by hydraulics to your clutch pedal. And there's a little master cylinder. Then there's a slave cylinder here that controls this fork. And what it does, it engages what they call a throwout bearing. So this bearing spins with the shaft, and it pushes it up against these fingers as it's turning, and it engages, and that's what engages the clutch. So that pushes in here, and actually this works in reverse. So when those are pushed in, this moves back a little bit, and it releases the pressure off the clutch disc against here. And that's the other thing that's usually changed when you change your clutch is not the fork so much, but the throwout bearing right here. This wears or gets, you know, corroded and stuff. So if you're looking at changing a clutch, it's this clutch pack that comes here, clutch and pressure plate. You should have the flywheel resurfaced, and very often you should change the throwout bearing right there. There's also a seal that goes into the transmission behind that. That's a good idea to change too. If you're going to have this off, there's a seal on the shaft that goes in there, and why not? You know, for the cost of $5 or $10 for a seal, just have it changed at the same time, because you don't want to put this all back together and have a leak. And the other thing you don't want to do is put this all back together and then have the throwout bearing fail on you, right? So you got it apart, do it all. Anyway, so that's the story. I'm going to take these bolts off of here and take that flywheel off, because that engine's being sold, and it's going into a car with an automatic transmission, and they don't use the same apparatus in an automatic transmission. Automatic transmissions is different. So if you looked at this, if this was an automatic transmission here, you wouldn't have this at all. You would have a drum here, and they call it a torque converter. And what it is, it's a fluid coupling, basically. So inside of this drum, there's impellers attached to the shaft on the transmission going into the automatic transmission, and then there's a flex plate that goes on the engine instead of this, and this drum bolts to the flex plate. There's a place to get up under the vehicle, and usually 3 bolts or 4 bolts that bolt it to the torque converter. So the torque converter always spins with the engine. It's always spinning, okay? Not like a clutch that disengages. And what happens is there's a set of impellers attached to the inside of the drum, okay, that spins with the engine. And then there's fluid in there, automatic transmission fluid. And what happens is there's impellers attached to the input shaft for the transmission. So when you're stopped at a light, say, and you're in gear, you're in drive, there's not enough turbulence between these two turbines to drive the car ahead. But as the engine speeds up, you leave the light, the engine speeds up, it imparts enough fluid flow against the other turbine that's attached to here to turn the turbine, to turn the transmission, that in turn turns your wheels and propels you down the road. Okay, and then when you come to another light, you stop, you don't have to switch gears, you're still in drive. But what happens, the engine slows down and the spinning of this turbine inside this drum slows down, and the fluid that's pushing this other turbine that's driving the transmission slows down and stops. There's not enough going on there to keep pushing it around, so it stops. So it stops the drive function of the transmission, and that's how the automatic works. So it basically, yeah, if you took this off, you would have a flex plate there instead of a flywheel, and it's just a flat plate with the ring gear on it that the starter turns the engine over with. It's bolted to the crankshaft as well. That's bolted to the crankshaft, and in here is what they call a torque converter. And if you're going to swap transmissions, you know, if you have an automatic transmission and you take it out, you'd be very careful not to pull the torque converter off of here because it's full of fluid. There's a seal in here. And what you want to do is if you take the transmission off, you want to make sure that stays in there. It doesn't pull out. You don't pull it out even an inch. You just leave it right in there. And very often, if you see a used automatic transmission or even a new one that'll come to you, it'll often have a little bar bolted on here that comes across the transmission against the torque converter. That holds it in. So if you were to take out an automatic transmission that you wanted to use later or swap to another vehicle, right away, when it's out, you would put a little bar across. Sometimes it's only like 6 inches long. It's enough to hold it in there so that when you're moving the transmission around, the torque converter is not going to come out, lose fluid. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you lose fluid, but you're going to lose the fluid, and you know you're going to have to put it back in there, pop it in the right spot. So that's the difference between manual transmission and automatic transmission. Now this fellow that this engine's going to has got an automatic transmission, so he doesn't need this heavy flywheel. He's got a flex plate on his engine already, and he's got his other transmission. So I'm going to take this flywheel off of here now and keep it with this transmission. And when he gets this, he'll swap the flex plate off of his onto here, and then he'll be able to bolt his transmission with his torque converter to this engine. And just that having been said, as you know, not every engine and transmission is compatible to swap, you know, one to the other. You know, like not every engine fits every transmission, not every, you know, and vice versa. So it's specific. This is a Toyota engine. He has a Toyota car within a similar year range, and an automatic transmission will bolt to this engine, or manual, as we've seen. Right. So this would have been an option at the factory. Right. You could have same engine, and they make it with okay. You want a manual transmission? They put a manual transmission in. So they put in this, that, and a manual transmission. If you wanted an automatic transmission, they could use the identical engine. And they have the mounting flange that's the same on the engine, and you can bolt whatever transmission to it you want, automatic or manual. And you see the configuration of these bolts. Some people look at that and think, oh, I need a special socket for that, but that's just a 12-point wrench will do that. 12-point socket will do that. That's all it is. Okay, nothing special. A knock to the wrench. I don't have my air impact here today. It's coming out quite well. That should come off of there. Too much difficulty. Yeah. There it is. And that is your flywheel. And these teeth on here is what your starter starts the engine with. It engages through that hole. You see that little recessed gear there? That matches with this ring gear to start the engine. When you engage the starter, a little Bendix drive here throws the that gear out, engages it, and when it starts and you let go of the starter, that retracts it out of the way, so it doesn't go. You've all heard that, you know, if you've got your engine started and you go to turn it on, you think it hasn't been started, and it goes. That's that gear grinding in here the way it's not supposed to. Don't do that. Okay, so that's it. All right, let's lift that up and see if we can figure out some way to prop it up in the truck that's upright. I don't want to have it flopping all around. Okay, so it's the next morning, and that engine's on a journey towards its next life. And what I did when I put it in there, I figured out that there's 2 bolts on the bottom of the housing. So I just put a 2x6 across, bolted it through, and so it's stable. It's upright. It's sitting on the oil pan, and it's sitting on that. And I just tied it across, and it's quite stable. It doesn't want to tip over, and it's up against the front of the bed, so it can't go too much further if I slam the brakes on. Can't come back this way, so yeah, it worked out pretty good. It's a good idea if you got a flat spot on the bottom of the engine. You could put a 2x6 across to move one, because so many times, you try and move an engine and it's laying down, or it's a nightmare, but that works. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again here very soon. Bye for now.